there are these people we call Okada people. Okada are people that use bike for transportation. The car will hit the people and bend the bike. So the thing ran up to close to the area I was living. So there was this lady, they call her Ishe, that was coming. She was on bike and the car rushed. And it was during 7 days rain in where I stayed in Warri. Now, these 7 days, the rain will be falling every day for 7 days. Every year will be flooded. So the car picked this girl with the horns, throw her into a ditch. And the lady sank into the ditch because something hold the leg inside the ditch. And the lady died. So, and the cow stood there. Nobody could come to rescue the girl. And she was right into the ditch inside the middle of water. After the cow stayed for over 40 minutes, the cow now left, was pursuing other people. Then people rushed and brought out this girl dead and kept her on the road. So when I was driving and I saw there were hundreds of people that were watching at the cops. So when I saw people gather and I saw a nurse holding a hand, and the nurse testified that there's no pulse in her hands. So people were crying, and then something moved me. There was this compassion that moves me and a strong confidence in the inside of me that when I minister to the lady, she will come back to life. I went directly. When people saw me, they were giving space. They say a pastor has arrived. I went there. The first thing I did was to rebuke the spirit of death. And the second thing I did was to release the life of God into the body. And I called forth by power for her to come back to life. And the lady opened her eyes. We lifted her up. Her eye was open, but she was seeing nothing. We tried to make her stand. She couldn't stand. It's like the whole body were paralyzed. Before we knew what happened, she died back again. We touched her, there was no pulse. I repeated the same command again. I bind the spirit of death and command the spirit of death to leave, and I release the Zoe of God into her body. And she came back to life again. And we lifted her up. Gradually, she began to see. Even though the eye was open initially, she wasn't seeing. Then she began to see. Then she couldn't walk. Then later on, she could sit down. She could now walk. We now took her to the hospital for examination. That is the first experience I had. Then another one that happened, we were in the ministers all night. Every Monday, we used to have ministers all night. So one of my sons has a member, a woman that is married. So around 1 p.m., is it 1 p.m.? 1 p.m. Around 1 p.m. in the night, the husband of his daughter in the church died. She was shocked. The whole compound people gathered around to revive him. They couldn't revive. At the end of the day, there was no breathing, nothing was happening. So she now called her pastor, who was among the pastors with me in the all night. So I now picked the phone. I said they should put the phone in the dead man's ear. They put the phone in his ear, and I rebuked the spirit of death to leave the man, and the spirit of life to enter into the man. I command the man to come back to life. When I did the first authoritative prayer, nothing happened. I did the second one, nothing happened. And I felt a leading in my spirit that they should pour him water. So when they pour him water, before they knew, in fact, they should pour him water and be beating him. So they pour him water and they were beating him, they were pouring him and beating him, and the man opened his eye. There were jubilation everywhere. So there are so many, about 12 dead bodies have come back to life. Now, what I observe, number one, is this. I observe some of the key to raise the dead. Number one, you must have a prayer lifestyle. There must be consistent communion with heaven. Continue communion with heaven. You must make prayer your lifestyle. You must pray consistently. consistently, which is very important because your connection with God helps so much in your ministration. Then number two, I observe is compassion. When you have compassion and love for humanity, it will be easy for you to raise the dead. When you have compassion and love for humanity, it will be easy for you to raise the dead. Number three is to take authority over the spirit of death and believe that your command will be honored by the Lord. Then another last thing I discover, after you command the spirit of death, you release the spirit of life into the person, then command the person to come back to life. We've done it up to 12 times and we have seen result. It doesn't fail. But another thing I discover is that people that are old people, we've tried it on them and it didn't work. I don't know, maybe my mentor, Reverend William Lau, we answered that question. Why is it that people that are old, it's difficult to bring them to life? Maybe it's through my ministry, I don't know. So these are my experience in raising dead bodies. We've done it over and over. We've seen children that died that were confirmed dead by doctor come back to life through the same method. So these are what I want to, testimony I want to share with us, that we carry the spirit of life and we can transfer the same life to dead situation, dead organs, and dead people. Hallelujah.